Happy Friday. You are listening to the She Heals Radio Show. I am your host, Whitney J. It is Friday, September 13th, 2019. Thank you so much for joining in. If you are tuning in on the Awesome God Radio app, thank you so much. I pray that you enjoy the show. If you have not downloaded the free Awesome God Radio app, you are missing out. There are amazing shows, amazing music, a blessed time. You don't want to miss it. If you are tuning in on awesomegodradio.com, thank you so much. If you have not joined, go to awesomegodradio.com, click on AGR subscribe, and make sure you tune in. You can see the shows live. And of course, if you are on Facebook Live, thank you so much. Share it to your page, click like, and leave us a comment. It's my birthday weekend, y'all. I am going to be 33 on Monday. I am so excited. I love birthdays. Getting older is a gift. It's a privilege, something we should never take for granted. So I am super pumped up. I'm looking forward to an amazing weekend. I'm spending some time with some girlfriends. And on Sunday, I will be at Ebenezer United Methodist Church in my hometown of Frederick, Maryland, or Imesville, Maryland. I will be giving the word at their Friends and Family Day. So I am honored to do that as well. So for the She Heals Inspiration segment, I want to talk to you about cycles and how to break cycles. And so I don't know, I'm kind of late because I tend to catch my music really late. But Jonathan McReynolds has an amazing album. If you have not gotten it, you need to get it right now. And it's called Make Room. And one of the songs on his album is called Cycles. And it just talks about how we get caught up in these cycles and we want to break the cycles. We want to change the, things that are happening all the time. And a lot of times cycles are just with us based on our decision making. A lot of times they're generational cycles. There are things that happen that have happened in our family. If our family has struggled with depression and anxiety and no one has ever done anything to bring about any healing, to seek out any help, then guess what? It's going to continue generation to generation. If there's diabetes, if there's different things, if we don't do anything to make a change, those cycles are going to continue to happen. Same in our regular everyday lives, right? If we don't make a change, nothing is going to change. And a lot of times people get frustrated because they feel like, why does this keep happening? And why am I in this situation again? And really, the issue is just they haven't made any changes. So the song is just talking about like, well, what is going on? Why do I keep coming back to this place? I thought I was done with this situation. God help me to break these cycles. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit today in the She Heals Inspiration segment about that. First thing that you have to do is recognize what your patterns are. So I know for me, I keep saying every year I say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to be better with my money. The thing that I spend my money on is food. Like some people shop, some people travel or whatever. For me, it's food. I like to eat and I like to eat well. And so I always say to myself, Whitney, you're going to get better with not eating out so much. You love to cook. Like you can cook more and eat out less. You're going to get better about drinking enough water every day, exercising every day, and losing the weight, right? I talk myself a good game. And for a while, I will commit to it. I think about in January, I was really committed and focused, and I lost 13 pounds. And I was looking good. I was feeling good. And it was great. And then the moment I got into my feelings, the moment that some things started happening that frustrated me, I reverted back to my old ways of eating my feelings. So when I'm stressed, I eat. When I'm happy, I eat. And so instead of keeping up with the regimen I had already started, I quickly, fell off the wagon. And then guess what? I gained all the weight back, right? So now here I am back again, like, oh, I need to get myself together. I need to lose that weight again. I want to feel like I felt then, but it's a cycle. I will, start doing something. I will see the results, and then I will allow a distraction to come in, whether it's a storm that's happening in my life or something else. I'll allow something to come in to get me off guard. And then I'm back to where I started. That's a cycle, right? You always go back to where you started. And so if you don't make any change and you don't even recognize that you're in a cycle, how are things going to change and be better? So the first thing you have to do is recognize that something is there. So looking at your life and identifying those areas that need improvement. And it's not always easy. Sometimes it can be frustrating and there's some shame and guilt that can be involved as well. But you have to identify the problem because you can't fix a problem until you know what it is. It's like going to the ER and demanding healing. But the first thing they need to do is look at your overall self. They need to run some tests. They need to ask you your previous history so they can identify what the problem is in the first place. So that's the first thing you need to do, identify the problem. The next thing is you need to develop tangible steps, realistic steps that you can take to make change. So if you don't drink water at all, it's probably going to be unrealistic that you're going to go from drinking no water a day to drinking a gallon of water per day, right? There are some things that need to take place in the meantime. So just start. You know, a lot of times we overthink the process and we think we have to have this drawn out plan and we have to have spent all this money getting all these things. And really, it's just taking the first step. Every good choice is a step moving towards the goal that you're trying to accomplish. So for me, you know, I kept saying, you know what? I'm going to get HelloFresh. I'm going to get all the Tupperware I need so I can meal plan, and I'm going to do this. All that stuff is great. But the first thing that I can do is make a good choice with the very next meal that I eat. Like, it's simple. Make one good choice and then another one and then another one and keep going until you develop a habit. So it's identifying what the problem is and then coming up with some tangible steps to accomplish that goal, to target that problem. The next thing is the hardest part. Seek accountability. So oftentimes we think that we can just do something in our own strength and that we just have enough wherewithal to be able to solve a problem and handle it totally ourselves. And maybe we can to a certain degree, but God never intended for us to do life by ourselves. He strategically places people in our path that can help us. And a lot of times, everything that you need is within the people God has already connected you with. You just don't know it. Right? And so it's important for you to get accountability. Accountability is when someone is helping you obtain a goal, right? They are helping you accomplish something. They are holding you to your word. So whatever you said you were going to do, they are seeing to it that that is what is done. Accountability is not a yes partner, someone that's going to agree with everything you say and go along with everything you say and do. Accountability is not always fun. It is not always pleasant. If it is, I question how authentic it is. Because we all know when we're on a journey of trying to accomplish any type of goal, it's going to be some bumps. Things are going to happen that frustrate you. Things are going to happen that, make you want to revert back to what you've already done. And so for me, again, eating is my thing. So the moment I start to feel stressed, I want to go to Outback and get me a steak to make me feel better. I want to go do this. It's having that person to say, hey, well, let's talk about what your goal is. This was your goal, to lose this weight. This is the plan that we put together for you to lose this weight. So do you really need to eat that thing right now? Or is there something else you can do? What's the replacement behavior you can do so that you don't get back into this cycle of eating your feelings? Accountability, again, is not easy. And it's not for the faint of heart. If you are looking for someone that's going to agree with everything that you want them to agree with and they're never going to check you, you're never going to get far, because true accountability requires being checked every once in a while. It requires somebody saying to you, okay, wait a minute, you're saying this, but your actions are not in alignment. We need to fix that. What's going on? It requires you to be honest with someone about exactly where you are. So a lot of times we say, hold me accountable, but then we don't tell the whole story, right? We don't tell about the, times that you went to Chick-fil-A and you ate when you were supposed to be on this meal plan. We don't tell about the times that maybe you didn't follow exactly what you said you were going to do, because we don't want to face that accountability. Well, what ends up happening is we stifle our own growth. So the person that's holding you accountable, you're not adding or taking away from their life if you don't accomplish your goal. That's not making them or breaking them in any way. It's yours. So if you don't do what you're supposed to do, that's on you and you alone. I've been in situations where I've asked someone to hold me accountable and I didn't hold up my end of the deal. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And then I was the one that was looking sad when I didn't get the results that I wanted to get. It wasn't my accountability partner's fault. They did their part. But I have to show up. I can have an amazing plan. I can have all the kits to meal prep. I can have HelloFresh and a million other different things. But if I don't actually get in the kitchen and start cooking, if I don't actually stop going out to eat, I'm not going to see the results. I can have a trainer that's paid for a year. I can have all these YouTube videos lined up. I can get all the latest exercise equipment and exercise clothes and all of that. But if I never exercise, I'm not going to see the results. It's that simple. You can have everything planned out, but until you make a move, you're not going to see any results. And so you can't expect someone to hold you accountable and to be nice about it when you're not even doing what you're supposed to be doing. How are we going to make progress? We're just wasting time. And you're wasting somebody else's time in the process, which isn't fair to them either. So get the accountability. The last part is, once you reach your goal, don't stop there. Stick with it. Look and ask God to show you, how can I grow from this? How can I go to the next step? How can I go and grow even further from this? What am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to move forward? So yes, I may have lost the weight, but anyone that has ever tried to lose weight knows losing weight is the first part of the battle. The second part of the battle is keeping the weight off. So it's great that you did all of those things for 6 months and you lost 30 pounds or whatever. But if you immediately revert back to your old ways, you're going to find that you've gained the weight back. So if you went really hard to separate yourself from people and places and things that were not good for you, and then you start feeling peace and you're free from depression and anxiety and you're starting to feel better than you've ever felt, and then you turn and go right back to those things, people, and places that had you messed up in the first place, you have now just re-entered back into the cycle. So your change can't be just until you see the target goal. It has to be beyond that. Otherwise, you won't sustain it, and you will find yourself right back in the beginning of it. And that is how we get in cycles. And the enemy loves it when we do that. He loves it when we divert off the plan just a little bit, because he can take it and then all of a sudden we blink and we're right back where we were. Like, wait a minute, I wasn't even struggling with this. I haven't struggled with this for years. Why am I back here? Why am I back feeling insecure? Why am I back with my money is not right? Why am I back, up all night because my anxiety is so high that I can't sleep? Why am I back to that? Why am I back in this place? It's because somewhere along the lines, something has distracted you and got you off the mark. So again, it can be as realistic as going to the gym for me and eating better. It could be something totally different. I remember having friends over the years that were like, I want to go back to school. There's something I want to do. Okay, that's great. And you can talk about that all the time. All day long. You can talk about your plan of going back to school and what you're going to study and what you're going to do after you complete whatever program. But if you never register and you never start a class, you're going to continue to be talking about this a year from now. Yes, Robert, you're exactly right. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's not going to change if you don't make a change. But here's the other thing with that. Sometimes we will start something, right? And we will, not see that immediate change. You got to trust the process. Change takes time. So if it took you 10 years to get into a situation, it's not going to take you 2 seconds to get out of it. So you have to trust the process, but also being willing to regroup. As a teacher, I talk about this all the time. When I'm teaching my lessons, I have it all planned out, right? I know exactly what I want to do, what activity, what explanation I'm providing, all of that. And sometimes it goes great. And then there may be a time that I'm in the midst of it and I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not going the way I need it to go. I need to regroup. I need to try something different. Because if you see it's not working, it's clear that it's not working, and you continue to move forward in that same way, all you're going to do is frustrate yourself and you're going to burn out. And then you're going to quit. So you got to make sure that you actually are reevaluating yourself throughout the process. Is this working? Is it working? I'm a morning person. I will get up at the crack of dawn, but like by 9 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired, right? Unless I'm actively out and doing something, I'm ready to go to bed. So working out at night is never going to work for me, because by the time I come home, I'm ready to chill. So for me, I know myself well enough to know anything that I really want to be successful at, I have to start it at the beginning of the day. So if that means I got to get up an hour before I usually get up to accomplish whatever it is, I need to do that then, because I can't be trusted past a certain time. I'm going to be ready to chill. And so I know that about myself. So I'm not going to ever set myself up by saying, oh, I'm going to do that at night when I get home. It's just not going to happen. So you have to know yourself well enough to know, what are your triggers? What are the things that get you off course? The enemy already knows. So you have to know. My pastor used to always say, woe to the Superman that doesn't know his kryptonite. Like, if you don't know the thing that gets you off task and the enemy knows, you are in trouble. So you have to know yourself well enough to say, okay, this is what I know is going to mess me up. Let me come up with a plan to combat that. So if I know that I'm really trying to not drink, right? I'm trying not to drink alcohol. This isn't me personally, but If that's my struggle, is I'm trying to cut back on drinking. If I know that if I have a certain type of day at work, I'm instantly going to want to drink afterwards, I need to find a replacement behavior. What can I do with those feelings? Maybe it's I call up a friend. Maybe it's I eat something. Maybe it's I go on a walk or I do some exercise instead. What is the replacement behavior? Because those things are going to come. Those distractions are going to come. So you can't act surprised when they happen. You need to anticipate them and you need to plan ahead. So what am I going to do when that temptation, when that thing happens that triggers me to revert back to that thing that I'm trying to change? How am I going to step in? For me, again, that's where the accountability comes in. I'm in a season right now of I'm selling my house and I'm buying a new house. And when I tell you this process is every other day, I'm like ready to quit. Like I'm done with this whole thing. We don't even have to move because there's so many different, things to it. There's so many layers to it. And every time I think, all right, all we need to do is this, and this, and we're done, something else will pop up. And the closer we get to the closing dates, it seems like the more things pop up. And for me, it's not like I have to move. This isn't a crisis. This really is a God move. God put it on my heart to make this transition and I'm being obedient. And so for me, it's really hard sometimes when things start getting a little shaky, I'm really ready to just back up because that's what I do. When it gets hard, when it gets frustrating, listen, I don't need this stress. I got enough stress that I can't get rid of. I don't need extra stress. So I'm going to just back up. But I know it's what God said. So I had to put some things in place so that when those feelings of, I'm ready to throw in the towel, I'm going to come up with another plan hit me, I have something to combat it. So I've been fasting and praying. I've been seeking out my accountability partners. I've been writing some notes to myself of reminding me what is going well so that when I have those frustrating moments or those unclear moments, I can go back and say, well, this is what I'm working for. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is what God said. And this is what God said he would do as a result of my obedience. I have those things already in place so that when that moment comes of like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to be able to do this? Is this really going to happen? I can go back and I can look back and say, wait a minute, this is what God said. I can reach out to my accountability partners that will remind me, nope, this is what God said. This is what you need to do. And so it's important that you have a plan in place. Otherwise, you are going to be right back in that cycle. There are so many of us that are like, oh my gosh, it seems like I'm reliving the same year over and over and over again. I can never get ahead. I can never move forward. Every time I think I'm moving ahead and things are changing, I get knocked back right to where I am and I'm just defeated. I'm tired. I'm over it. That's because you're in a cycle. But the good news is you serve a God that can bust up and break up anything that you are going through. You serve a God that it doesn't matter how long you have been in the same season or in the same situation. He can change it in an instant. You serve a God that is just looking for your submission. Like I said, he's never looking for your perfection. He's looking for your submission. Are you willing to give it to him? Are you willing to then give it to him, leave it with him, but do the work that he requires you to do to obtain whatever it is you're believing him for? He's not looking for, you to be perfect and have everything in alignment before you get started. He's simply looking for a yes. Do you have a yes for him? Have you gotten tired enough? Tired of being in the same situation? Tired of things going the way that they've been going? Are you tired enough that you're ready to make a change for real this time? And you're ready to submit to whatever process God is requiring of you to make the change? Once you get to that place, that stubborn faith, where you're just like, listen, God, there has to be more to life than this. So God, what do I need to do to move forward? Because I cannot keep going on like I am right now. Once you're willing to do that and you're willing to say yes to whatever God says after that, you have just now stepped out of your cycle. The victory is already on its way, but you got to make a move. A lot of times we want all the benefits and we want to do none of the work. And that's not how it works with God. We have to do our part. Our part is being submitted, it's being obedient, it's trusting him, and it's trusting the process. Listen, like I said, I'm living this right now. And when I think about the fact that I am almost 33 on Monday, and I look at all that has happened in my life over 33 years, specifically the last 7 years of losing my husband and becoming a widow at age 25, of being a single mother to my two children, raising a child with autism, to losing my mother just 3 years ago. And I mean, so many losses and so much heartache and so much pain and depression and anxiety and illness of my own. I could go on and on. The suicidal thoughts, the suicidal attempts, the, medication for depression, the therapy for depression. So many things that God has brought me through. But I had to go through them. He didn't just snatch me out. He brought me through, and I am stronger now. I'm better now. I'm wiser now. I'm happier now. And even when I get down, because that still happens, there are still things that I desire from God. There's still more that I want from God. There are still things that I don't understand. Even when I get down, I can look back and say, but God, look at what you've already done. Look at how faithful you've already been. And oh my gosh, Whitney today versus Whitney 7 years ago, I can already see your hand at work. Whitney today versus Whitney a year ago, 6 months ago. I can already see your hand at work, God. And so even though I'm exhausted, even though I'm tired of being a widow, even though being a single parent is hard, even though there is a lot on my plate is consistently full. Even though sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm lonely, sometimes I'm frustrated, God, I'm still trusting you because you have not failed me yet. I'm still going to say yes to you. Even if my yes to you means I have to say no to some things or to some people or to some places. I'm going to continue to say yes to you, even if it means I'm going to have to go through a few things in the process. I'm going to continue to say yes to you, even if it means there's going to be some days that I'm going to have some tear-filled nights. If my pillow is going to be soaking just because I'm pouring out to you, that's okay, because I know that one yes from you is better than any yes I can get on my own. And so, God, I'm going to trust you despite how I feel, because my feelings are not facts. We may feel it. That doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to submit to you. I'm going to submit to your plan. I'm going to submit to your process, and I will see the victory. The word of God says that God will do immeasurably more than you can ask or imagine. Believe God for that. Be willing to take whatever steps he requires of you, and I promise you the victory will come. That is the She Heals Inspiration segment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we have an amazing couple that is going to talk about their family, and just if you have a blended family, if you have a traditional family, I don't care what kind of family you have, they have something here that you need to hear. Do not move. Stick right there. We will be right back. This is the She Heals Radio Show with your host, Whitney J, on Awesome God Radio. Be right back.
We are 24/7 radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to get your praise on. It's time for the Blessed in the City Drive Home Mix with your favorite mixologists, DJ Soul, DJ Craig, DJ Lamont, and DJ L Styles on Awesome God Radio.
An olive has to go through 3 stages for its oil to run. It has to go through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. And just like the olive, some of you may have felt like you've gone through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. You went through all of that for your oil to flow. Now your greater is coming. If it had not been for the shame,
life. So make me transparent to the stage you want, to the heaven. Here you go, 'cause Lord, you're a superstar, and I wanna be wherever you are. So let me know. See, I'm your opening act, so I'ma fall way back like a ghost. It's you I want them to know. Let's make his name famous. Let every nation sing praise to the King of Kings. Let's make his name famous, so the whole world knows the sun gets its glow from you, Lord. Let's make his name famous. You should know that. I want you to know that. I want you to know that. Yeah, I'ma say it like this. Everybody ain't rich, and everybody ain't for ya. They love to hate on you, 'cause they can't do it like this. So fresh, take a picture in the mirror. My team be the realest.
Welcome back. You are listening to the She Heals Radio Show. I am your host, Whitney J. Again, it is Friday, September 13th, 2019. Can you turn me up? Thank you again for tuning in to the first half. I pray that you were blessed by the She Heals Inspiration segment. And now we have some amazing guests here. I am so excited. I have known one of the guests a long time, elementary school, and it's so cool when you get to kind of grow up near someone or around someone and you just see them shine, and I've just been so blessed, even just by following on social media their family and just talking to her personally, and now meeting her husband. I am super, super excited. So we're just gonna hop right into it. I want to welcome to the She Heals Radio Show Leah and Terry Yahya. Hello.
Hey. We're excited to be here.
Yes, don't be shy, y'all. It's just Whitney. And so the theme today that we're talking about is families. And I have always loved y'all, so I feel like I know it, but I don't know it, if that makes sense. But, there are blended families. I feel like that nowadays, it seems like blended families are as common or more common than traditional families. And we all know that with any type of family structure, there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of great things. There are a lot of challenges, but all in all, it's a beautiful thing. So I just want to start with just telling us about your family.
Okay. You
And
going?
just talk up in the mic.
Yeah. So basically, it's she and I, and then we have our six children.
6 children, y'all.
So we got a
dog.
15-year-old and a dog. Can't forget Lulu. We have a 16-year-old Talia. She's our oldest.
She's not 16 yet.
She'll be
15.
I'm sorry, she'll be 15. Yeah, 15.
Listen, with 6 kids,
I'm
if you
trying
know
to
all
give her
their
extra
names,
years.
you're
Look,
good.
She's the oldest. I'm ready to make her 21. Like, she's 16, 18, 20. Yeah, so she's 15 in October. We have our son Fabrel, who's 14. Our daughter Messiah, who's just turned 13. Tyler, who's 12, going on 21. Liam, who's 8, and Noah, who's 7. And yeah, we're just the modern
6
day
children, y'all.
Brady Bunch.
Lord Jesus, God bless y'all. That's something else. Now describe your structure. So did you guys each had children before, and then okay.
So we each had 2,
Yeah.
and then we had 2 more.
Wow.
So I had Messiah and Fabrel previously before we got together, and she had Talia and Tyler, and then we got together, and for some reason, no, we were blessed with 2 more children, Liam and Noah. Our 2, we call them the ones we can't get rid of. They don't have any other parents' house to go to.
Hey,
on the weekends
listen,
and things
I
like
have one. I understand.
The sticky ones.
We're like, dang, you don't got no other parents. Like,
There's no break, right? And so
Yeah.
your family is just so beautiful to me. I just
Thank
love
you.
seeing. I see the things that you guys are active too. So how does that work? Because I'm being super honest. I have 2 children. I know I'm a single parent, but I mean it's a lot. So
Yeah, definitely
how do
is.
you guys manage the schedules of 6 children?
We just both basically Uber and lift our children around.
we're unpaid Uber drivers.
I can
for sure.
imagine.
But yeah, I guess it's important to keep them active.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
they stay in the
struggle.
house, they really gonna drive us crazy.
Yeah.
We gotta give them an outlet,
Yeah, I
So-
imagine.
So it's a struggle for us because I will sign them up for all these things, not think, because that's my thing. Like, I'm like, oh, we're gonna do all these things,
Right.
and knowing that I can't manage all these things by myself.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you sign them up. Like,
Now we got to do it.
I'm
but
the
you didn't think
logistics
about
guy.
this,
I'm the
like,
logistics.
the logistics.
I'm
So
like,
he's like, you gotta involve me when you, because I'm just like, oh yeah,
This
ready,
sounds great.
ready. I signed
Everything
the boys
sounds
up for
good.
football, the girls up for basketball. This, and like everybody
Wow.
has something to do. Let's go. And he's like, okay, well, how are we getting?
How do you get it done? Right.
So I'm trying to get better at that.
But it's really just a team effort, though. We just run on, you know.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, I think it was tougher, like, when we first got him in sports.
Yeah.
It was like, just, dang, that was this season, you know, that was that season. It was like, do we get a break?
Yeah, we're
Right.
used to it now.
Yeah, now I think we're a lot better and more used to it. I know I used to
Tough when-
moan and cry and whine. And just, you know, I'm not a morning person in these games or some of these early morning
Yeah,
adventures.
I'm not a Saturday morning person, so I understand.
But now
I
he's,
understand.
Like he's going to bed early on Friday night now.
Yeah.
Because he knows he got to get up early.
For
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah. But I think it was a lot harder when the older kids were like in elementary school and we had the babies. Being
Yeah.
out there with like the babies at the practices and the games, like that was really tough. And that wore down on us more. But now, I mean, still, like, last week I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care who has practice, who has what. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this today. I don't care. Like, coaches just be mad. Like,
Yeah, I'm
like,
tired.
it does wear down.
It is that, it's that dance we got to walk, though, as far as that is concerned, because it's like, you know, we know this isn't paid for. You know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
ain't getting no check. So you don't want to take it too extreme, but you also don't want to teach them to, you know, not to put the 110% into it.
That is
so
true.
it's like, it's on both ways. I can't ask you to go out there and do all the things you need to do for your team, and then I'm not doing my part for the team by getting you there or trying to skip out here and there. Some days, though, they just tell us, like, especially the young ones this summer for their little football camp, it's like 5 days a week practices, and, you know, 1 or 2 of those times they were like, Dad, can we just miss? And I'm like, yeah, of
it's tough
course.
with Liam sometimes because he's just like,
I'm not doing
practice today.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
practicing today. You know?
Yeah, and so let's talk about that if you're okay with that. We also share in both of our stories having a child, a son with a disability. So having children in general, you know, requires a lot, and then to have a child that does have a disability brings another layer. What has that experience been like as you guys are managing your family as well?
Well, thank God for you. Right? Because when we first started on that journey, I don't know how I would have managed without everything and all the support and just checking in, and you know, it was tough there for a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's no joke.
But Dad is the superhero when it comes to us managing. Like, Dad's the superhero for that because I get very overwhelmed easily.
Yeah, yeah, that's real.
You know, I get very overwhelmed easily, and it's just like my personality where I'll just be like, you know, I can make it worse. You know, I'm just like, okay, can't handle this right now. And so Dad really has.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's just, you got that one, you know, that one special kid, and he's like, for us, you know, where he is with it is it's not as extreme as in other cases and things. So I think it's not as it's just kind of being mindful and keeping the other kids around mindful that he's a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, he's
That
the same,
awareness is big.
but he's different. But it's hard to kind of get them to kind of understand it.
Yeah.
Because his
especially his
impulsivity,
siblings.
so his impulse is like, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of control, but reminding a kid of like why your brother's touching on you and you don't feel like being touched on is hard. So it's like,
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, they just
it's a
don't
dance.
care. Like, they, you know, sometimes I feel like sometimes, like, the other kids, like, they care because don't let anybody mess with their brother.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't, you know, they're like, you know, I don't even care, you know, leave me, you know, they just, it's hard on the family, like, the family unit sometimes. And,
Sure,
and I think
absolutely,
you
yes.
can, just being mindful, you know?
Yeah, and making sure everyone's feelings are valid, you know, and letting everyone know that their feelings are valid.
That's the struggle for me, is that I give them so much attention.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I balance it out. You know?
Yeah,
And some of my older kids have pulled me up on it.
yeah.
You know, like, you do this and that and the third for the boys. You know, it's the boys.
it's the boy. Oh, they have
you
a
know.
name too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my older son isn't part of the boys. He feels like, you know,
Oh, I see.
because it's like they're the
babies.
youngest. Yeah. So they got the natural attention just because they were the youngest. They needed the
Absolutely.
attention. And then as we learned about Liam's thing, and you know, just I'm just way more involved with them because they need more management.
Yeah.
Our older kids are like on their own. They're
older.
self-sufficient. Yeah, so
They are not self-sufficient.
I like that
They're
they
more
are.
self-sufficient
Yeah,
than
they're more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So yeah, with them they get a lot of attention. So it's definitely important for me to remember to balance it out. I try to do like one-on-one things with each of them. It's hard because we got so many of them. But
Yeah.
anytime, even a car ride home
car
from
rides are
me and my daughter
a big
today,
thing.
picking her up from school, and we had a good long conversation, lengthy.
That's
and
awesome.
we were able to, I ain't even turn the radio on. We just able to talk and kind of connect for 25 minutes. That makes the world of a difference, especially if I'm asking her, hey, can you help me out with this, that, and the third? We had a connection time, and so she feels appreciated or at least seen, recognized, and it makes
Hey,
them
we
buy
need you
into
to
the.
babysit, but
Yeah, it really does. Though when you give them that attention, it makes them buy into the program. The team thing. They feel like part of it.
Absolutely. And I always say that, the things growing up, we may not always remember all the gifts that we got, but we will remember the experiences that we had, the time that we spent with the people we care about. So with that though, how do you guys manage to spend time with each other? Because I'm thinking to myself as a widow and a single woman who wants to date and marry again. I'm like, with what time? And I only have 2 children. So how do you guys find time for each other with having your children?
We steal it. We fight for it.
But I think that's
And we
something
take
that
it.
we've kind of been. We have go through phases of being good at it, and then times when it's not. But when we're not good at it, you kind of like you can feel that breakdown. You can feel that like disconnect whenever we're not making time for like each other.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, we really do like steal it. Like, whoa.
Yeah, sneak out.
Sneak
But
out.
you know what? To be honest, like her family is very supportive in terms of like we got the uncle involved, and we got the grandmas,
Yeah.
we got the aunts. My
Yeah.
family too. When needed, everyone kind of. It's a team. It's a village, and
Yeah, we have a lot of help.
we got a lot of
And we have good
help.
company.
Yeah, we're very blessed and
That's
got a
awesome.
lot of people that hold us down for an hour or two here, let us sneak out for a date night, things like that. And now we got kids who are old enough to kind of help with
Yeah,
some of
to-
those
can
quick
take some of that
outings.
on.
Yeah, take on some of that. So it's just being conscious, and trying to check in with each other. Sometimes it's hard with all the hustle and bustle because we got jobs. They
Right.
come home to the second shift and it's cooking and it's trying to get kids in order, ready for the next day. And then by the end of the night, it's like, yeah, what's up? Like, hey, babe, hey, yeah, what's good? Yeah, I'm going to sleep. Good night. See you in the morning. We just get the
Yeah.
highs and bars and, so sometimes we really got to slow it down and just kind of, like tonight, I'm like, look, I'm taking you out tonight after this. I'll just steal you for it.
But look, and I'm like, I don't feel well. Like, we're both sick, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, I just want to go get back in the bed. But then I was like, nah, I want to go to dinner.
Yeah. Because when is this time gonna?
Yeah,
When are you
I
gonna
was
get
like,
that back?
It's all right. I'll eat sick.
I mean, those sacrifices they make a big difference, right? And so my question for you guys is, and even I'm here to learn from you as well, because on one end I am a widowed parent, but I'm also co-parenting with Quincy's dad. And I feel like co-parenting is like another situation within itself, and there are some ebbs and flows to it. And so because you guys are a blended family, there are other parents involved. And so how do you guys manage, or what is that like for you with having several parents that are essentially parenting these 6 kids together?
Yes.
It's a lot. I have 2 children by 2 women prior to us, so she's got to deal with 2 personalities on top of
Wow.
my own.
So that's 5 parents.
That's five parents in the picture, and it gets to be a lot. I think what we do though, how we kind of balance it out is we just try to worry about what we can control. At some point it's like you just like look, because it's at times people are going to just have differences of the way they feel things should be done, and so it's too hard trying to ask another person or try to convey to another person or get them to kind of buy into it. It would be in a perfect world, it would be great if we could all just sit down and kumbaya.
Right,
yes, of course,
right.
we all feel the same way, but we don't all feel the same way all the time.
Right.
For the major things, we all want our kids to succeed. So I think that's what we kind of like. I try to always remember and kind of use that as the foundation when things are like getting a little tense, or when people are starting to bump heads on what we feel we want for our child, is just to be like, okay, well, at the end of the day, we both want the best.
Right. It all comes back to
your the
that.
best might be different from my the best, but what we
Right.
can control is what we can control. And if we get into the business of really trying to control what you're doing, then it's going to make things, it's too much friction. So for me, I'm more of like, look, like this is what I'm doing over here,
And we good.
and we good, and
Yeah.
we all get along, for the most part. But everything hasn't always been perfect.
It's
It's
been a
those
lot of trial and
growing
error.
pains.
Sure, I imagine.
Yeah, and it's just we all communicate with each other. We don't, we're all very mature in respect to our children. We don't ever want them to feel tension or see like when we're at odds. And I think at this point, we're all able to agree to disagree when we need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's powerful
That
within
is.
itself because some people never get to that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think like over like we're almost a decade in, so over this time, that we've all been co-parenting together. I mean, there's ups and downs, there's trial and error.
Sure.
But we have gotten to a point where, like you said, at the end of the day, we all know we want what's best for the kids. So
Yeah.
we just try to come back to that and just keep it cool, calm, and collective. Communicate like whether you like, some things aren't easy conversations to have.
Yeah,
you might
absolutely.
dread them, right? But you still do have to communicate, in a healthy manner when.
And I think both of us grew up in a blended family type
Yes.
situation. So for me, I know for sure it was just kind of natural. I had a couple moms, you know what I mean, and I had a lot of support from a family member. So it was like it was easy for me to feel loved by someone who's not like my biological mom. Like my sister's mother is like my godmother, who we're really close, and
Yeah.
my brother's mother is my other mother. She took me in if I needed to be. So I always grew up. That was the norm for me. My grandparents, who were different than my siblings' grandparents, still bought my siblings, stuff for Christmas and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Everyone
That's
was
amazing.
So,
Yeah, everyone
we had
was
a
very
beautifully
loving.
I mean, we both have blended families. We have different backgrounds, but both having blended families, I think that we both kind of always had that from the jump. Like, okay, we want to do this.
Yeah.
And we want to make. And I think we had a cheat code a little bit. I have to be honest about this because when we got together, the kids were so small, so they were two, 3, 4, and 5, or 3, 4, 5, and 6 ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were young, so it was they bonded naturally.
Right.
So the harder part was co-parenting and blending the families, like
Right.
the family unit. And so I always kind of say, like, because people always saying like how hard it is to blend, and I'm like, it didn't feel that hard with the
Yeah.
kids, but I do think that kind of made a difference. And we're just we're big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I have to imagine that. I think one of the biggest things when you're co-parenting, and if it's not going well, is you never want a child to feel like they have to choose, right? You don't ever want them to think they have to choose one parent over the other, one house over the other house. And so the fact that you guys are actively working to create that environment, all of you guys are working to create that environment, is amazing, because I've seen situations as an educator, where that's not the case. And it's
Yeah.
literally a child. It's almost like both parents are, tugging at one end, and the child is kind of, not knowing what to do with that and how to manage that. And so that is amazing. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, how do you guys manage like your day to day? So like, are there chore schedules? I'm still trying to perfect all of this. I'm really asking for myself because I'm still trying to figure it out with my own kids. Like, how do you manage your day to day? Because with 6 kids, obviously they're not all there at the same time, I'm assuming.
So we have 5 all the time.
You're 5 out of the 6 all the time.
Yeah.
And then managing the different schools and all of that. Like, what does that look like?
A lot of schools.
Yeah, we got 4 schools right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, we have chore charts, what we call an accountability chart, so they can see what they got to do.
It's been a struggle.
It's a consistent grind. It's a whole nother job, like to try to get
Yes.
them to do. And then you kind of got your standard of what you wanted and how you want it
to look. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it's like, yeah, you did it, but you just did it for the sake of doing it. Like
Yeah.
my kids are in the
And when I
business
get
of
to the point when
wiping
I'm
things
like-
down just to wipe up spray
just
instead
like-
of to clean it. Like,
This isn't my standard of cleaning. This is
And
what I had in mind.
But you just sprayed it white, like you didn't get it up.
oh, that dirt? Oh no, I wetted it. It's wet.
Oh yeah, it's clean.
Yeah,
I
it's
sprayed
clean.
it, and I'm like,
I wiped it.
And I am tired of yelling. I'm tired of talking. You know, I'm really tired of yelling.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I can imagine.
you know, and
It's a lot to take in your spirit. You know what I mean? When you got, for me, I don't do all that.
He's like,
I don't do-
listen, boo, like you cannot. I cannot wake up to yelling because I wake up in the morning and these chores ain't done.
Yeah,
It's
she
a
waking
wrap.
you up. Like,
It's a
come on,
wrap
get up out the
for
bed. You gonna
everybody.
come do these chores.
And so, trying to find that balance because I want them to be accountable because I have this conversation like, so what are you gonna do when you get your own house?
Right.
You know?
Of course, they're not gonna clean. That's what they say. I don't know.
I'm gonna have a cleaning lady.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had a clean lady.
So it's like that fine line between like wanting them to be accountable, holding them accountable, and then like now I'm to the point where I'll just do it myself.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
give them the speech.
If
You know, I
have to
always
do it
tell.
myself, let me get that phone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I give them the speech about. I try to impress upon them like why it's important. You know, like 'cause I don't want them to think I'm just telling you to do it. But like we gotta appreciate what we got. You know, what I mean, I feel like if you're not gonna get more blessings if you don't take care of the blessings you got. So
That's a word.
And he will tell them that every day, and the chewers
They still won't.
ain't.
He's planting a seed. We
Yes,
may not
we
see
are.
it yet,
Yeah.
but he's planting. The seed has been planted.
I'm just hopeful that like if they start taking more ownership, you know, just more appreciation. I
That's
just keep telling
true.
them like, you know, it's going to facilitate the energy we need to get. You know,
And
if you
we're
want
giving them
more,
we're
want better.
teaching them the responsibility that they should be responsible, whether they do it completely, but they know that
Yeah.
you are responsible to help out in this household. This is your home, and your only responsibilities right now are to go to school and help in your home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is
The
extra.
rest- everything else is extra.
Yeah, so we do have a little chart. You know, we try to get them to do those things, and then we just kind of like have a routine. I guess you know, we kind of take turns in the shifts. Sometimes it's like who's the first one home. It's like a race. You know, like if I get home first, I'll start cooking.
I try not to get home first. He's being really modest. Like he really helps. Like he's very active. He cooks a lot.
Yeah, I try not to.
Cleans a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to say like one person should do one thing or the other. So I try to do everything that I'm gonna ask her to do. You know, we try to like balance it out. Some days she's
That's awesome.
running people to practice, and I'm gonna cook. And then other days, you know, I might be running around cooking. Some days I gotta do it all. You know, those are the hard days. Like if I gotta if I'm sick or you know I'm not feeling good, it's like all right, bet. You know, you just gotta put your game face on. Like all
Put
right.
your cape on and get going.
Yeah, I know
right.
what time it is tonight. You know what I mean? Then you know, this is how it is. We all on the same team at the end of the day, so it's like we try to do.
I love
the best
that.
we can.
I love that. And that teamwork is, I mean, I just remember I wasn't married for long, but that was a big part of just knowing you have a partner that's in it with you. You're both working
Smart.
towards the same things.
Yeah.
And whether I can give you 80% today or 20% today, we're still on the same team. We're still going to get 100, right?
Yeah.
You know, between the two of us. And so I think that is really important. And your kids are certainly blessed to have such amazing parents as you guys. So I want to ask you like a final thought because the show, like I said, time goes by really fast. So I know that there are many people that listen that whether they have a traditional family, a blended family, whatever, if you have kids, you're trying to balance something, right? What are some, words of wisdom that each of you would give to just being parents and just trying to manage all the different things with our kids?
I would say self-care, self-love is important. Some of the times when we had our most toughest moments, we weren't really giving ourselves enough, and then we were expecting one another to try and fill voids or pour
that's
into
a word,
ourselves
yeah.
more than we pouring into ourselves.
Yeah.
So, and then it's also like you got to put the ego away, because if I see her doing too much for her back in the day before, growth, I might have been like, man, you selfish. You know what I mean? You're not really. I ain't see it as how important it is for her to be
To
full.
take care of herself, yeah.
Yeah, like
And vice versa. You feel, you going out?
yeah.
I got all these kids in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I go out my way to try to give her that time, the space to kind of do whatever she needs to do for her and have her own time. Because I think it's of the utmost importance. And the better she is, and the more she's feeling like full, she gonna be able to pour into us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
my motto. Like just try and give her what she needs. And then if I need my time, I just say, hey, you can't tell me no now because I put her in a tough position. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what was that? You
That's
know?
called backed in a corner, but okay. I love it.
Yeah.
But that's good. I think that's good. One of the things which I was sharing with my daughter the other day, which I think is really important, is like, you know, none of us are perfect. Like, our kids aren't perfect, our spouses aren't perfect, and even as parents, we're not perfect.
Absolutely.
So, like, you know, I'm trying to be the best mother that I can be, and I may fail. Like, we may fail every day at whatever we do, but, like, wake up every day with my intentions are to be better than the day before, or to keep giving it my all. And I just really think that, like, with parenting, like, some days, like, we're just not going to have it together. Some days we're not going to have it together. Some days we're not going to co-parent great. Some days you're just like, nah, I don't feel like dealing with this. I don't.
That's real.
But, you know, if you come back and say, like, hey, I was wrong. Let's do it better again today. And I'm getting better with saying I was wrong. I'm here to do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, amen. Everybody heard. Make sure I get the footage of this. What was that? No, just kidding.
But that's what we model that behavior, because our kids are gonna watch what we do, not what we say, right?
Yeah,
so if we're showing our kids that we're human and what to do when we fall short, you know, and that we can make amends and we can admit that we're wrong and it's okay and we'll work through it, then you're setting your children up to be functional, healthy adults, you know, and members of society as well. So that is a huge blessing. Well, I am just so excited that you guys came. I learned a lot. Like I said, I'm always following you guys, and I'm like, man, how do they do all that? Like, I thought I do a lot, but my goodness,
you do
I do. And Lord, you know, send a little help, please. You know, but I'm just so thankful that you guys took time out of your schedule to come and be on our show. And I just pray that God continues to strengthen you guys and encourage you guys. You're doing a phenomenal job. You have an amazing group of kids. That's just me on the outside looking in. I'm sure the people that are deeply connected with you know that for a fact. But just know that, you know, as you pour out into your children, to each other, that God is also pouring into you as well. So you guys will lack nothing. That is my prayer for you.
Thank you.
As we are closing out the show, shout out to Quincy for producing.
Yeah, big shout out to Quincy. He's the man in here. In a major way, Quincy. You doing this, man.
Yeah, because I told you, all I know how to do is just get on the mic and start talking. Like, I don't know how to do anything else. And to be honest, like, before we, you know, close out, just watching you guys with your daughter, I was thinking about Talia specifically, because I just remember from meeting her when she was a baby to now, and like how much you developed into her and her basketball. I love seeing the things that she's doing. And to me, that was inspirational of like, you know what? Let me find what my kids do well.
When you have a gift.
Yeah. I mean, that you guys honestly inspired me in that way of like, Lord, show me what my children do well. And who knew that there was a producer in my house? You know, who knew that there was a track star?
Yeah. Did it work out?
Yeah. So, you know, that's another thing, parents. Like, find what your kids do well, even if it's different than what you may do or you may think you want them to do. Yeah. Find what they do well and provide opportunities for them to cultivate that, because you never know what, like, I would love to have this conversation 10 years from now. We're talking about our kids and all like, oh my goodness, look at all these great things they're doing, because we as parents listen to God and pour it into them. So I just pray that your children are blessed as well.
Thanks.
To my listeners, thank you so much for listening and tuning in each and every Friday. It is an honor to be here. You have no idea how much I look forward to coming every Friday. It's my birthday weekend, y'all. I'm going to go. Thank you. And Leah's birthday's coming up too. I am looking forward to, like I said, turning 33. You know, send your girl some prayers. Just that year, chapter 33 will be better than the rest. I'm blessed to be here. I am just honored to be a part of Awesome God Radio. In closing, she thinks, she feels, she hurts, she cries. She trusts, she prays, she strengthens, she overcomes, and ultimately she heals. This is the She Heals Radio Show with your host, Whitney J. Have a blessed weekend. We will see you here next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Awesome God Radio. God bless. We're good. The mic's are off. Awesome. You guys were
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to get your praise on. It's time for the Blessed in the City Drive Home Mix with your favorite mixologists, DJ Soul, DJ Craig, DJ Lamont, and DJ L Styles on Awesome God Radio.